Welcome to the Hawley Area Community Show. I am Kristen Kreil, and we are here today at the REACH office with two of our dedicated volunteers who also are community members, Vic and Karen. Vic has agreed to share a story with us, a little bit about his life, and welcome to the show, first of all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You all right? All right, so Vic, you just tell us, what do you have to share with us?
Well, I guess the story I have to share with you today is that back in 1994, we just opened a restaurant here in Hawley. And we started it in August. Then October 29th of 1994, I decided to take the next 16 years off by having a massive heart attack. And when I was through the recovery, and the doctors kept telling me that you got to take it easy, don't exert yourself, don't do this and that, and so on and so forth. So I got a lot of rest and so on and so forth. Then about a couple of years after I had the heart attack, I got the defibrillator and pacemaker installed in my body. And then shortly after that, I got the LVAD put in.
Do you want to share a little bit about what that is?
The LVAD is the left ventricle assist device.
Okay.
And you carry a little blue, well, I carried a blue bag around for 6 months. And then, but that was actually my heart. So that's the only thing that kept me alive during that 6-month period. Because my rejection fraction was down to less than 10. And anybody who knows anything about a heart, and you're down to get low less than 10, you're almost, if you're not already dead. And that's how close I came. Even with the heart attack, I did die. Then in...
So do you want to share a little bit about, I want to show everyone these buttons that they have. I want to share a little bit about what the significance of this button and the number is?
Well, the number I have on my button is 668, because I was the 668th heart transplant at the University of Minnesota. Now, they have had quite a few since then, and I'm not sure what the number is now, but I imagine it's well over 700, because they are one of the bigger areas for transplants, for heart transplants. And I was just fortunate enough to be a recipient of that, and it's been, the last 4 years have been really interestingly fun. But when I had my heart attack, my wife and my daughter were there, and thanks to them and the Hawley Hurt team that came up, that I survived. It took them 4 shots with the defibrillator to keep me going. And they finally got a flicker, because when they started, I was flatlined. Pure, simple, nothing. In fact, I don't know why they just didn't box up and go home. But they kept trying, and it took them a little over an hour to get some life into me, and then get me packed up and taken down to the ambulance and transported into Fargo. And the last thing I remembered is I was getting in the car at our place, driving to the apartment. I just blacked out from that point until I woke up in the hospital in Fargo.
Wow, what a powerful story. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back and share a little bit more about the journey that you've been on. Welcome back to the Hawley Area Community Show. We're here with Vic and Karen, sharing a little bit about their experiences over the past several years. And Karen is going to share with us a little bit about her experience as Vic was going through the heart attack and kind of the beginning stages of that. So Karen, what do you want to share about, there's probably a lot of things that you had to take care of. And
one thing was the LVAD. We found out that it had to be cleaned every day sterile. And if he got infection, there wasn't anything that could be done. So it was really a process. Every morning they gave us this table and we set out our material on it, and it was many steps. And it was very scary. And I remember one time when I realized I didn't have my mask on, and it's just, that was the hardest part of it all. But otherwise, just kind of the normal routine. And we did have to live in Minneapolis too for a month with the LVAD and a month after the heart transplant.
Okay, so yeah, I'm sure Vic is very appreciative to have all of your support and to help you through that process. Vic, do you want to share a little bit about your experience riding in the helicopter? I hear that's kind of an interesting story. So.
I was when I was waiting for the transplant, they told me that I had to have my suitcase packed and ready to go, because all they were going to do is call me and tell me that I have to get into Fargo to take the airplane down to Minneapolis. Well, as it turned out, the airplane was already gone when I got the call, and so they had the helicopter that was out working right around Hawley here in the area. And so they said, "Can you be out at the airport in 10 minutes? The helicopter is going to be sitting there waiting for you." I said, "Well, I can't make it in 10, but I certainly can make it in 15. And I made it out there, and the surprising part of it was, guess who's standing out there waiting to greet me? It's the mayor of Hawley, who was part of the Hawley Hurt team that brought me back to life. And so I got the ride down there, and it was a beautiful winter day. And so I could see the highways and watch the traffic and things of that type, and it was interesting. I'd never had a helicopter ride before, and I haven't had one since, and I don't want another one like that. But it was a nice ride. Anyway, we landed at the hospital there in Minneapolis, and I'm getting off the airplane, and there's a fellow standing there with a wheelchair, and he's just keeps looking kind of around me and the two nurses that were on the helicopter with me, who were escorting me off. And so I walk up to him and I says, "Are you looking for the heart patient?" And he said, "Yes, I'm looking for the heart patient." I said, "Well, that's me." The expression on his face was utter amazement, because he said, "I've never had a heart patient walk up to me before." I said, "Well, I'm still walking." So then they wheeled me in there, and of course he happened to be a racetrack runner, because Karen couldn't hardly keep up to him. But we got up to the hospital, the rooms there where we were supposed to be at, and then because my wife and my daughter were driving down to Minneapolis, and my white car turned red from the friction. But they made it within about 10 minutes from the time that the doctors wanted me in that operating room. And so I got to say hello to my wife, hello to my daughter, and they wheeled me in the operating room, and that's the last thing I remember until I woke up in their hospital. And then we had to stay there for another month, because I had to go up almost once a week for the tests and so on that they were performing.
Yeah.
And
Well, thank you so much for sharing your story. I think that there's many other interesting pieces of your story. You might have to be on the show again to share some more of it for all of our viewers. So, but thank you so much for sharing your story. And that was, you said what, 19 years ago is when this journey, that's amazing. So I just want to thank you, and thanks everyone for watching, and we'll see you next time.